free markets, big tech, and free speech often do not, get along very well, because they have an interest to their investors, and then you have things happening on Patreon, like the actual financial backings, like MasterCard kind of putting the pressure on to boot people. And now there's so many different topics, but I don't believe everyone has a right to a platform.
Let's shift a little bit here, because let's talk about big tech, because you've got an interesting announcement coming. But just relative to the whole big tech conversation, and as someone that you might be shadow banned on
that's
YouTube,
weird.
And we don't know if they're going to get us. And shadow banning, as I keep endlessly repeating, is now quite literally in the Twitter terms of service. If you are an American, it doesn't apply to the Europeans for some reason, but if you're an American, it is now in the terms of service on Twitter that they can throttle who sees your tweets. On top of that, I just saw, as of the day we're taping this today, that they're considering doing a tip thing on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that.
Have you heard about this? But think how dangerous that means. That's an interesting idea. But now they're also saying they can throttle you, but then that means they can also not just control whose information gets out there, but who can actually make money too. So it's a seriously dangerous thing. All that being said, when it comes to big tech, as someone that's in this, as a creator and a YouTuber and a Twitter and a boob person and all that stuff, where are you on regulation and what we should do about this thing that's obviously pretty intimate to you?
I had to think a lot about this, and that was one area, it just intersects with a lot of my interests, is big tech, free speech. I'm like, oh, this is going to be real interesting in the future. And we'll see how well that holds up, because free markets, big tech, and free speech often do not, get along very well, because they have an interest to their investors. And then you have things happening on Patreon, like the actual financial backings, like MasterCard kind of putting the pressure on to boot people. And now there's so many different topics, but I don't believe everyone has a right to a platform. So I don't think that everyone has a right to free speech in America, in the places where you are allowed to have free speech. That doesn't mean that
meaning the public square.
Meaning the public square. Now, that doesn't mean that a private company owes you a microphone.
Yeah. So what about the people that say, but Twitter and Facebook and YouTube are the avenues we communicate, and if you're not allowed on there, it's like saying to somebody 30 years ago, you can't get a telephone in your house.
You know what's interesting to me is that it's generally people on the left who are saying this, or on the right who are getting kind of throttled, but on the left it's like, get them all off, ban them all, it's not the public square. But I think that it hurts really marginalized people the most.
Of course.
The trickle down. And so I don't know, to not consider it the public square is dangerous in some ways, because then you are really, it's like, but it's it's just so crazy to me. But it goes to show how you're not gay because you don't think the right way. Someone isn't black if they don't think the right way. It's the ideology. So if you have the right ideology, you'll be allowed in the public square. Well, that's not the public square. But it is weird with Facebook and all these places, because as far as I'm concerned, just being that they're private companies, even if they were smart enough to create a public square, they still get to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. That sucks.
The best line I heard on this, and this was in the middle of me trying to figure out how I wanted to fight this battle, was everyone always says, but this time they have so much power that it's different. So the idea would be that this time you libertarians, you kind of have to put it aside and let the government do it, because because Google has so much information and so much power. This is the time. And then Yaron Brook, who I've had on, have you chatted with Yaron? Mm-hmm. You should definitely have him on, from the Ayn Rand Institute. Basically, I mean, it's the most simple thing, but he said it so plainly, as if it was nothing, that it really just struck me. He's like, well, if you wouldn't have principles when they're the hardest time to have those principles, then you don't really have them. And so he's completely against regulation. So that leads me to why over the last year, and I just announced it barely a month ago, I started locals.com to
Yes.
allow creators to own everything that they're doing, own all your content, own all of your user data, set whatever rules you want in your locals. We started mine, which we have about 10,000 people in there now at rubinreport.com, and we got an iOS app and a Google Play app.
Amazing.
But I'm not pimping myself out here, Bridget, because this all leads to
We're pimping
that.
my boobs out. No,
We
I'm
are
just kidding.
pimping
We're not
Bridget's
pimping
boobs. No,
out.
that you, this is the first time it's being said publicly, you are the first creator
am.
on Locals.
Yes.
People can go to Phetasy.com today, Phetasy.
No,
Wait,
A-S-Y.
Phetasy, Phetasy.
Yep.
Yeah, is that not what I said?
Yeah, no, you
left
said
out-
S-A-Y.
Okay.
It's fine. It's
A
confusing.
little dyslexia there.
We'll put it on the screen.
But you are the first creator beyond me that is on locals.com,
Thank you.
and we're super psyched to have you there.
I'm honored.
And we had literally about 5,000 people that reached out that within that first couple weeks to create communities, and I was like, Bridget's the right one because you are just in the center of all of this.
Yeah.
So I'm thrilled to tell
I'm
everybody
honored to
that.
be here. I'm so excited. I'm excited because, well, there's many reasons. One, you put your money where your mouth is. You know, I appreciate that. A lot of people, when I was too small to really, I was affected by people like Jordan and you and Sam leaving Patreon because you took a lot of people who subscribed to me.
No, I had my own friends angry at me that were like,
and
Dave,
then-
you left and it's okay, but people canceled their Patreon accounts because of us, so then a lot of you guys got hurt.
It's fine,
Yeah.
whatever. And again, I really don't like to be the victim-y thing. So even, I'm like, all right, shadow ban me. All right, whatever. I'll figure out a way, because I always have. You actually did figure out a way and made something. And a lot of people are like, well, go make your own internet. And you're like, okay, fine. I will go make my own, it's not a platform though, is it?
Well, it's a non-platform platform.
Yeah.
It's a creator-specific platform.
It's different.
And one of the cool things that we're going to be launching over the next couple of months now that we're adding some creators, and you're just the first of a whole bunch of people that we're
web.
going to add, is that we're going to be able to connect our communities. So you'll be
Okay.
able to connect your community with like-minded people.
Yeah.
So perhaps if Dave and Bridget like each other, we'll connect our communities. It'll strengthen our feeds, and our fans will be able to communicate with each other. And if one day you're like, that Dave Rubin's a real asshole, you'll just disconnect the connection, and that's it.
Yeah.
And the idea was, let's give all of the power back to the creators and make sure that the day that you say something on Dumpster Fire, that YouTube's like, we're
"You're
done with
gone."
this girl.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You don't have any of, think how many subscribers do you have on YouTube, ballpark?
Oh, I've only been on for like 3 months, so 11,000 about.
All right, great. The day
Yeah.
that they find you too much of a threat or whatever, and hopefully by the end of this,
Apparently already,
show,
since
we're
I'm
gonna
shadow banned.
send some subscribers your way. But the point is that you have no way of communicating with those 11,000 people. They've chosen to subscribe
Right, I
to your
know.
channel, but you can't get your message out to them because the algorithm sits between you and getting a message out
Yeah.
to them. I wish I had my phone on me. You get actual push notifications
Yeah.
on your phone. So I think we've built something pretty cool, and
No, it's
I'm very happy that
amazing.
you're part of it.
I'm so excited. I'm excited. I was telling David that I cried when I saw.
My David.
Yes,
The
your
other
David.
yeah.
That I cried when I saw just the because it's just Phetasy. So I made up the word Phetasy years ago and it means when reality becomes parody. Now in 2006, this didn't mean anything. And now it's like the culture has kind of caught up to the word. And then because social media was so new, I used it as my social media name because I didn't really trust social media, knew nothing about it. And I didn't, and I wanted to get the word out. Well, I inadvertently became the brand before my company did because
Yeah.
my company went bankrupt because I was 27 and didn't have a business plan. I was going to make greeting cards. Again, trying to just be a voice for people I felt like didn't have a voice, which was like divorced people and people who had kids out of wedlock. And that's where I started. And then it took on a whole other life of its own, which is a crazy journey and probably the book I should write. Because it's been, and then I saw it, just Phetasy back with the original logo, and I'm like, I never gave up on this.
I have it on my phone. It's the test version, but
yeah,
it'll be
and Phetasy was always meant to be a content creation. That's all I want. I wanted to be a production company, And like I said, I mean, I have scripted podcasts I want to make. I have locals only content that I want to put on. And I see locals now, or the Phetasy locals, as my hub where I get to do that and just keep expanding and collecting people as long as I'm allowed in the public forums.
Yeah. But it's the home. I mean, what I'm trying to tell people is it's your digital home.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want in your digital home. You can't, our TOS, our terms of service, you can't break the laws of the United States across the board on locals. But beyond that, one of the cool things is you set the rules in your locals.
Yeah.
I set the rules in my locals. So if someone's just being purely evil in mine, I just don't want your money and goodbye, you're out. You may have a different policy related to what you're
mine's pretty much the same.
Yeah, and mine it's sort of, I wrote it in a kind of funny way. And it's like, it's not that I have 3 strikes, it's just like, don't be a relentless dick. And if you just can't do that, then I literally don't want your money.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel. I call it my gated community.
Yeah, congratulations. The new institutions are being built. What do you think, though, because we're doing this as a subscription thing, about that maybe the day of the absolutely free internet being the main driving force of everything is kind of done? Because that's sort of what I'm feeling like. Yes, I get it. I'm not leaving YouTube or Twitter, any of those things for discovery.
They're not free, though.
But, well, they just stole your soul. But besides,
yeah, that's what I always say on Twitter. I'm like, Twitter takes your soul and all your information. Yeah. So one of the things I love about yours is that I take that stuff. I have no interest in selling information people give me to third parties. None.
Yep.
I don't like it when other places do that to me. I have no interest in that. If I shut down and die, it all dies with me. That's also very clearly written for my partners.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want them taking it and selling it. And I think that I was saying as I was watching all of the past couple of years, the debates and the siloing of public and private opinion is happening anyway. And I was saying everyone's going to end up going back to their domain names. Mm-hmm. Everybody left their domain names to go into these, social media places. And now everyone's going to start kind of reverting back to those places, their homes. Yeah. Their home pages.
Do you think that that's part of the problem?
But you found a way to link them all and be social. So it's the future. It's amazing.
I'm psyched about what we did.
No, it's amazing. When you guys showed me the demo, I was like, I got in the car with cousin Maggie and was like, this is the future. Because it's social media meets, content creation. It's like Patreon meets Twitter a little bit.
Yeah.
And it scrolls and it's sexy. It's just, I'm so excited.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about comedy instead of the nonstop yelling you get everywhere else, check out our comedy playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, check out our full episode playlist. They're both right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.